to learn or recap how to use block paints. Let's have a look at the sorts of materials we need to get started. We've got a set of block paints, some water, in a pot filled no higher than this line here. That's so we don't have spillages. We've got some paper towels, we've got 2 paintbrushes, a broad flat paintbrush and a small pointy detail brush. We've also got some cartridge paper. It's really important that when we're painting we use cartridge paper or watercolour paper, because normal paper ripples when it gets wet. Cartridge paper doesn't ripple as much. Now let's see, how do we create a colour? We take our brush and we wet it and we add the water to the paint block and we stir it, and we stir it really well, and you can stir it in a clockwise or an anti-clockwise direction. But what you don't want to do is just mash it like that, alright, because that can ruin your brush. So keep stirring really well, and you'll see it starts to bubble a little bit, and the paint starts to thicken, and that's really why we're stirring it, is so that the paint can go nice and thick, and then it won't run when we're painting our images, and it won't spoil the other colours either, and the colour will look nice and thick and solid and opaque, and that's really important. So let's try out that colour. There we go. It's nice and solid. I can't see through that paint, and if I hold it up the colour doesn't run, so that's just the way we want it. Now what do we do if we're trying to create a colour that we can't see in the paint block? Well, we simply mix the colours together. So if I want to create an orange, I'm going to mix some red with me yellow. Now you only need a tiny bit of red to create the orange, so I'm going to stir that a little bit first. Again, in a clockwise or an anti-clockwise direction. And it's bubbling a little bit. And then I'm taking most of the paint off by simply dragging it along the edge of the block. Okay? And then even maybe a little bit less. And I'm going to stir it into that yellow, and I'm now creating the orange, and you'll see the colour starts to change. Give that a good stir again. Take the excess off and try it out. And that's just right, that was just the colour I was hoping to create, and it's nice and thick and opaque again, and if I hold it up, again it's not dripping. Now what do we do next if we want to create a colour that's a bit more complicated? If I want to create something like my pale skin colour, well, I'm going to start off with plenty of white. So I've got some clean water here, so I'm going to add some water to the white. I'm going to give that a good stir. So we're going to need mainly white. We're also going to need some yellow and a little bit of red. Or we could just add a little bit of orange. So if I stir that, it's quite thick again, so you have to be a bit patient. And then I'm going to try and add a little bit of that orange into there. Stir it in. And that's just right, that's the colour I wanted. Let's try it out on there, nice and thick. Yeah, that's perfect. Hold it up, it's not running. I'm pleased with those. Okay, now we can clean our brush, and now we can look at how we use the brushes to paint the area we want. So I'm going to start with the detail brush to paint any edges or any small areas. So first of all, if I get the colour on my brush, and if I was going to paint my face, I'd create the shape or the edges with my small detail brush first of all. And once I've got the edges, I can get the large brush, give it a good stir again. There's a bit of water on there, so I'm going to just create a bit more of the colour. Stir it a bit more. So your colour's just right. And take your time to get your colour just right, because it is important. And then I can fill in the gaps, and I can fill the whole area using my broad paintbrush to fill that area nice and quickly and neatly. And hopefully, if you do it really well, You won't be able to see your brush marks. Your paint should be nice and thick enough that you just get a nice, smooth, opaque block of colour. And if we hold it up, it's not runny and drippy. And that's how to use block paints.